admit, I think that they're right half the time. I am a little bit nuts doing the things that we do to find the right cars or get the cars, but I can't help myself. And if you don't lay it out there, it's a no anyway.
Do you still remember Counting Cars? One of the most popular TV series that changed the narrative, or perhaps restructured how you view reality shows? Have you ever wondered what happened to the crew who suddenly took a break and never returned to your screen? Join us as we reveal the mysteries surrounding Counting Cars members that will leave you speechless. Mike Henry. Mike Henry, also known as Horny Mike, wasn't just part of the team on Counting Cars. He was the guy who turned simple cars into one-of-a-kind art. His ideas were big, and sometimes even crazy, but not everyone understood Mike's style. Interestingly, some even thought his designs were too complicated. However, there were parts of Mike's life that weren't always easy, but he refused to showcase his struggles on camera. Instead, he brought joy to the people around him. Then in 2021, Mike faced something far more serious than any restoration project. He began to disappear from the show. With constant deadlines to meet and grueling work behind the scenes, eventually Mike made the difficult decision of leaving the show. Fans missed him and began to realize that he was the one who made Counting Cars feel special. Mike was like a friend who'd always make things look funny and proved that it was okay to be different. Even today, viewers are left smiling when Mike shows up. After all the crazy helmets and wild paint jobs, Mike's found peace in living life on his own terms, away from the rush. He wanted to prove that the people who stand out from the rest are the ones most remembered. But there was another man who ran the shop long before most people even knew it existed. Scott Jones. Scott Jones was one of the earliest stars of Counting Cars, and he quickly became a fan favorite, known for managing the entire process and making sure everything ran under the right budget. Scott kept things organized with every project. He wasn't the loudest on the show, but he was reliable and kept things moving. Viewers loved that about him. The job wasn't easy, but Scott refused to back down. He fought through the intense challenges and faced constant pressure of being on TV. With 1,000 things in his mind, he still prioritized working at Count Customs, and that's what made him truly special. But fans began to notice Scott's behavior. He didn't laugh much and often looked tense. After just 3 seasons, Scott quietly stepped away from the show and chose to follow his own path. Even now, when fans talk about the early days of Counting Cars, Scott's name always comes up first. However, Scott's time on the show reflected that not everyone needs the spotlight to feel important. Some people work even harder behind the scenes, and they are the ones responsible for the show's true success. Still, not every cast member had the chance to pull away on their own terms. Some were forced to say goodbye far too soon. Kevin Mack. From the very first season, Kevin Mack was more than just a team member. He was Danny Coker's cousin. Kevin carved out a unique role at Count Customs. While Danny was chasing big dreams, Kevin was the one who kept things on schedule. He focused on protecting his bond with Danny, so he tried to do everything he could for the show. But that relentless effort left Kevin in trouble. He was always chasing the edge and trying to solve problems even before they happened. Whenever there was conflict between the crew, Kevin stepped up with his commanding presence. In the shop, the profit mattered, of course, but even more than that, it was about dealing with tough customers and often monitoring every member of the team. But in 2020, everything changed. Kevin suffered a serious stroke in the middle of the night. The stroke affected his speech and coordination and required emergency care followed by weeks of physical rehabilitation. It forced Kevin to step away from Count Customs. His unwavering support towards Danny reminds us that every great team needs a steady supporter, and for Count Customs, it was Kevin who made the right choice. Ryan Evans. Do you remember Ryan Evans? The man with the long ponytail who always had his hands dirty with paint jobs? Whenever a car rolled out of Count's Customs looking better than before, you could instantly recognize it was Ryan who made it happen. He was the shop's lead painter, who made every dream build come to life with pure magic. For Ryan, painting the restored cars was a chance to rediscover customers' interests and to enjoy every step of the process. From the flames across the hood to the fades that shine bright, his artistic vision speaks for itself. But painting cars wasn't an easy job. He wasn't trying to please others or work on tight deadlines. Instead, he focused on doing his job the right way. As the seasons went on, fans noticed something. Ryan began appearing less frequently. He started shifting his focus away from the restorations and towards family. Behind the scenes, Ryan had been dealing with personal health concerns. Fans started to notice Ryan's energy, always looking weary with the constant pressure to do something amazing every single time. It was too overwhelming for Ryan, but Ryan cared too much about his job and it eventually drained him out. Ryan was Danny's most trusted team member, not because he could pull off a tricky design, but because he understood the customer's needs and made every build feel special. His presence was a reminder that being the quiet one doesn't mean you're weak. Instead, it's a legacy of strength that still resonates in every car he ever painted. But the shop didn't just run on four wheels. There was another man who brought motorcycles to life like no one else. Shannon Eichow. Shannon Eichow was never one to hold back. He was the shop's custom bike builder. With his eyes focused and hands busy, Shannon was a man of skill. He was more likely to talk about building with precision than argue over the profit margins. Every line, every curve on the motorcycles mirrored his love for the job, but being extremely focused came with serious consequences, not just physically, but emotionally too. He worked long hours in order to meet his high standards, always chasing the perfect design. However, Shannon didn't try to unveil his emotions. Instead, he chose to stay calm. He continued showing up, encouraging others to shine in the process. When the team was faced with a tight deadline that seemed impossible, Shannon was the one who got the job done without any excuses. Even now, when people talk about their favorite bike restorations, Shannon's name always comes up. He brought a kind of energy to Count Customs that made you believe there was always something special in each build. But in early 2019, Shannon's world came to a sudden halt. After a normal day, he started feeling chest pain. At first, he brushed it off, but the pain grew worse and led to a massive heart attack. The recovery was slow and filled with pain. For a man built on steady energy and creative work, stepping back was one of the hardest moves he ever made. His fans missed him. Many had followed his journey from the very beginning, watching him transform old rusted bikes into modern-day classics. Shannon's exit was a reminder that no matter the situation, if you're willing to put in the focused work, every motorcycle build is just as easy as it looks. But what about the man who's been at the center of the show from the very beginning? Danny Coker. Danny Coker, also known as the Count, was known for his fiery personality and a huge love for both cars and motorcycles. Like any process in the shop, Danny's dream life started from scratch. He wasn't just talking about cars, he actually lived a life around them. Danny made Count's Customs famous, but it wasn't about fame. It was his true love for every part of the process. From turning old cars into rare classics, Danny made sure each car felt unique. But behind his incredible resilience was a heartbreaking childhood that very few people knew about. Danny was born on January 5, 1964, in Cleveland, Ohio, but he spent most of his time in Detroit, a home for American muscle cars. His father worked for the Ford Motor Company and was also a professional gospel singer. From the time he was a little boy, Danny loved watching his dad work on engines. While other kids were playing with toy cars, Danny was curious about how the real ones worked. Interestingly, his dad gave him an old cruiser as a gift. That moment marked a turning point in his journey. Even when things were hard and people told him he wouldn't make it, Danny kept going. His dream was clear. He wanted to turn cars into works of fine art. Danny's journey to TV was even more surprising. He began with a small role on a local Vegas TV, dressed up like a vampire playing the character of Count Cool Rider. It was fun, but not what he truly loved. But eventually he met Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars, who wanted help with restoring classic cars. Richard saw Danny's passion and how smart he actually was, and soon the History Channel gave him the show Counting Cars, which premiered in 2012. The show represented Danny and his team as they restored old cars and built custom bikes. But it wasn't just about the machines. It was about the people and the love behind each build. The show lasted 10 seasons, and it was a blend of hard work and heart that made every magic possible. But even after all that success, Danny's journey wasn't smooth. In 2014, a couple filed a lawsuit against the shop saying it had failed to keep up their work as they promised. The case made headlines but eventually got settled. However, in 2017, they were faced with another problem. One of Danny's employees was linked to addiction, and Danny was blamed for the cause. He ended up spending 30 days in jail, and fans were left in shock, looking at the person that once seemed calm and kind was now facing trouble. But Danny didn't stay down for long. He focused on healing and began the process of rebuilding himself. But through it all, Danny had his wife, Corey. She's the reason Danny's world kept moving. Both shared a common love for rock music and old cars. Danny often recalls how thankful he is for her. He knows that behind every strong man is someone who believes in him. Together, they faced the hard days and kept the shop thriving. Danny Coker's life mirrored the process of pain mainly. Some fans missed the tension he brought to the screen. Others found a new respect for the man behind the persona. Danny's story is about transformation, a reminder that even the fiercest voices sometimes go quiet. But while Danny found a new rhythm to life, another Count Customs favorite had his own reasons for pulling back. Rolly Scabo. Rolly Scabo brought a different kind of energy to Storage Wars by adding intricate details to every finished car. As the shop's detailer, he was the last person to touch each build before it rolled out. And with his Hungarian accent and easy smile, Rolly quickly became a fan favorite. He focused on making the cars perfect. He also took pride in every polish and in every minute detail. But not everyone understood the effort it takes behind the scenes. Some saw him as just the car washer. Others joked around him, not realizing how seriously he took his job. By 2020, Rolly's moments on screen started to shrink. Fans assumed he had moved on to a different job. Others believed something strange had happened behind the scenes. Even today, Rolly's name reminds the viewers that joy matters. Sometimes the smallest details are part of a larger picture. Looking back on all these names, it's clear that counting cars was never just about fixing up rides or chasing down classics. It was about people who brought heart and skill together. Some carried the weight without ever saying a word. Others lit up the room the second they walked in. And while not every story was smooth, each one mattered. That's what made the show feel real. It wasn't just the builds. It was the bonding between the members of the show. So, which Counting Cars member did you love the most? And who was the one you truly hated watching? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for further updates, and click the next video on screen now for another interesting story.